I'd like to invite Doctors Mansi Kaur and Simran Singh to share their talk on Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm Dr. Simran Singh, and this is my wife, Dr. Mansi Kaur. So we are gathered today for this interfaith event, and in light of the 350th commemoration of the great sacrifice made by our ninth Guru, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. The purpose of this presentation is to talk about Sikhism as a religion which promoted interfaith awareness from the very beginning. Interfaith awareness, dialogue, and understanding. And this tradition continued throughout all of Sikh history. And then we will also talk about the namesake of the event, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's life, teachings, and spiritual message, and why they inspired us to hold this interfaith event. Since this is a very vast topic and difficult to cover in a short time, we also prepared a short book which will be given to the attendees, which explains this in greater detail. And we'll start with some general information about Sikhism. So Sikhism is a major world religion. It's the 5th largest religion in the world, with over 30 million followers across the world, with significant populations in India, Canada, USA, UK, and Australia. It was founded over 500 years ago by our first Guru, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who was succeeded by 9 human gurus. And Sikhs believe that all of our gurus share the same light of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And from the very beginning, Sikhism has been a religion that promotes interfaith awareness and understanding.
So now let's discuss the universal concept of Sikhism, starting with the first Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji had companions of many faith backgrounds. And in fact, his closest companion was Pai Mardana Ji, who actually was from a Muslim faith background. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji would sing the holy hymns that are in our scripture, and Pai Mardana Ji would play his rubab, which is a stringed instrument. And as a pair, they would travel to several parts of the world, and people would see that the master is from one faith background and the disciple is from a different faith background. But their mission was to unite the whole world in the light of this interfaith understanding. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he actually traveled to major sites of religion at that time, where he conducted religious discourses with multiple faith leaders. And these included very prominent places of learning, such as Mecca and Baghdad, belonging to the Muslim faith, Tibet and Sri Lanka, belonging to the Buddhist faith, and Jagannath Puri, belonging to the Hindu faith. They emphasized universal human values over sectarianism and encouraged everybody to live an ethical life guided by the principles of earning an honest living, meditating on God's name, and sharing one's earnings with everybody.
So, in this strong interfaith tradition continued with all 10 gurus. And this tradition of singing hymns with musical instruments, musical stringed instruments, also continued. And the musicians, the rababis, were often from a Muslim faith background. And the gurus composed hymns which explained religious concepts in different traditions, emphasizing the universal human values that are taught through them. And in fact, this interfaith harmony is enshrined within the Sikh scripture itself. So the Sikh scripture not only contains the writings of our own gurus, but also saints and devotees from other Hindu and Muslim faith backgrounds. And in fact, a lot of us may have heard of or may have even traveled to the Golden Temple in India, which Sikhs call Harmandir Sahib. But the foundation of that temple, the foundation stone of that temple, was laid by a Muslim Sufi saint, Sayyid Mian Mir, who was respected by the gurus for his devotion and piety. And the Harmandir Sahib, the Golden Temple, has 4 doors, which symbolize that anybody from any walk of life, from any religion, from any background is welcome in the temple. And the later gurus, including our sixth guru, Sri Hargobind Sahib, he built, a lot of the gurus founded new cities. And in one of the new cities he founded, he especially built a mosque for the residents of that city, which is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And which brings us to the event that we're commemorating today, the sacrifice of our ninth guru, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur ji.
So Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, he continued with the traditions of the earlier gurus of traveling widely to spread the message of universal peace and harmony. One of the principles he taught, what is enshrined in the scripture, is not to be a cause of fear to anyone and not to live in fear of anyone. During that time, there was tremendous religious oppression in India, where people were being forced to give up their faith and convert to the state religion. And one of the leaders of the Kashmiri Hindu faith community actually approached Guruji to do something about it, to stop the oppression. Guruji agreed to travel to Delhi as their representative and was executed for refusing to renounce his faith. This shows the extent to which the gurus went to promote interfaith understanding. So, this sacrifice has universal significance, and it's the reason why we are holding this event today to promote interfaith understanding. Guruji sacrificed his life for a faith that he did not personally practice. It teaches us that interfaith solidarity is not just a matter of preaching or talking, but that it should also be reflected in our actions. It also exemplifies protection of freedom of religion in an era approximately 400 years ago, when human rights were not even a part of the public discourse. This event is in the honor of the 350th commemoration of this immense sacrifice.
So it's not only that this one episode of his life that we should learn from, but his whole life can be instructive for us in promoting interfaith understanding. So his life can be divided into many episodes. He was a warrior, a scholar, a prophet, and a martyr. So in his early life, he actually participated in wars of defense against the oppressive Mughal rulers of the time. And then after this very active early period of his life, he retreated into a life of meditation and prayer for 26 years. After which, he was chosen as our ninth guru due to his piety, humility, and devotion to the principles of Sikhism. And after being chosen as the ninth guru, he established a new city, Anandpur Sahib, which was a center of learning, study of scriptures, and interfaith tolerance. And he ultimately gave his life for these principles. And some of the key teachings are that spirituality shouldn't be something that we just preach. It's not separate from our daily life. He emphasized maintaining clarity of purpose, devotion to God, and being equanimitous, having equanimity in all situations. And to escape from daily life, to escape from our daily responsibilities, is to ignore the fact that the true struggle is the inner struggle within against the destructive tendencies of the mind. And he rejected the tradition of outer renunciation, which was very prevalent in India at the time.
So now we will go over some of the main principles which are enshrined in our scripture written by the ninth guru. One of them we already talked about, which is to not live in fear and not to tolerate oppression. And this is the translation of a verse written by Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, in which Guruji says, "One who does not frighten anyone, and in whom fear does not arise, says Nanak, listen, O my mind, such a person is spiritually wise." And he also emphasized devotion to God under all circumstances. Another verse that exemplifies his teaching is, "The mortal does not remember God. Why in the wine of illusion he is fraught? Says Nanak, without meditating on God, in death's noose he is caught." So we can see that the gurus identified devotion to God as the highest purpose of human life.
And in his holy word, he emphasized the true struggle is against the inner evils, which are the cause of the outer evils that we see. Oftentimes we only recognize the symptoms and not the origin of the problem, which is our own mind. And so our scripture emphasizes conquering the mind. And another quote by the ninth master, Guru Tegh Bahadur ji, is, "One who renounces possessiveness, in whom greed, attachment, and ego doesn't dwell, says Nanak, he himself is saved, and he saves countless others as well." And ultimately, one of the highest virtues in Sikhism is to remain humble. And it's very important to renounce pride and to learn from all of humanity. And so Guruji said, the world is just a dream and your pride is false too. None of this is yours, O Nanak, know this to be true. So in doing so, in instilling humility, we cut the very roots of pride and set the foundation for living a virtuous life.
Guruji himself exemplified these principles. He lived a life of utmost humility and authenticity. Even after he was selected as the Guru, he didn't try to make himself publicly known or seek out followers. He was recognized by a prominent member of the community as the one possessing the true spirit of Guru Nanak. He did not seek power, ambition, or seek material wealth. And he was also a diplomat and a peacemaker. Guru Tegh Bahadur ji traveled widely, including in northeast India in the region of Assam, where he settled violent disputes between the local tribes and the Mughal authorities. And these disputes were settled without any bloodshed.
And which brings us back to what we're commemorating today and the spiritual principles that this exemplifies. So Guru Tegh Bahadur ji absorbed the pain and suffering of others. For example, empathy and compassion are important universal spiritual values. But the highest expression of these values is to make others' suffering one's own. And so the Kashmiri Pandits who belong to the Hindu faith community expressed their plight to Guruji and stated that they're being forcibly converted, being given the choice of conversion or death by the rulers of the time. And they approached Guruji with this request that we need a representative to defend us in the royal court. And it was actually Guruji's son, our 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, who told his father that because of the principles he stands for as the successor of Guru Nanak, that he himself should undertake this mission. And so he went to Delhi, the capital of India at that time, as their representative, refused to give up his faith and was executed as a result. So in this way, his life is an example of promoting interfaith harmony and understanding. And as Arvind Virji said, that our scripture says that anyone from any faith background can get close to God, realize God, but that this true devotion is very rare. And our ninth Guru had friends and followers from many faith backgrounds.
So this brings us to the purpose of this event, which is promoting interfaith understanding. The scripture says, the six scriptures emphasize the universal outlook. And they say, do not call the ancient religious scriptures, such as the Vedas and Semitic scriptures, as false. False are those who do not reflect on their meaning. This conference is being held in that spirit so that we can learn from each other and learn the highest ideal of each faith. We really appreciate you all and we look forward to learning from everybody today. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Doctors Simran Singh and Mansi Kaur, for honing in on the tradition of interfaith dialogue, participation, and spiritual reverence. That's the cornerstone of Sikhi. For giving insights into the spiritual episteme enshrined by Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji in the eternal Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and for sharing some of the central principles of Sikhi.